Hi, welcome to Coffee Break with Researchers. Today, our coffee break is about the paper Buzz and Tranquility, What Matters for Creativity, a case study of the online game industry in Shanghai. And I'm having a coffee break with Huiwen Gong. She's a postdoctoral researcher associate at the Christian Albrecht University of Kiel in Germany.
Coffee Break with Researchers presents you with cutting-edge insights on regional development and innovation. We ask researchers directly and in a personal manner about their work. We make scientific knowledge accessible to all.
Hello Huiwen, thank you for accepting this invitation to a coffee break. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
I'm having today Colombian black coffee as usual. Are you having any coffee today?
No, I'm having green tea from China actually.
I really like that one too. I'm interested in a paper you wrote about tranquility and creativity in the games industry. Could you please tell me what the paper was about?
Yes, the paper was about individual creativity in the video game industry in Shanghai. And in that paper we tried to explore what factors influence the individual creativity of game developers. And as you know, creative industries have become increasingly important in our modern life. So we want to investigate what factors really influence the individual creativity of game developers.
I see that a key notion of your paper is tranquility. Could you please tell me how do you understand this concept within your research?
Tranquility has two meanings in the specific context. The first is more referred to quietness in the physical world, which means that man-made noise is reduced to the minimum degree. And the other is more related to the mental quietness, which means that creative workers can temporarily isolate themselves or disconnect themselves from the external world so that they can really use their brain and mind to do the creative thinking.
This is a very interesting notion, thank you. And which ones were your main findings?
Well, there were two main findings. The first is that co-location or co-presence in space, which means ferns or actors located closely to each other. This kind of co-location actually didn't play a very important role in our finding, but rather creative workers benefit more by interacting with project members or other game developers, and also they benefit more from learning via the internet. And the second finding, which was more exciting for me also personally, is that we find that actually creative workers need a lot of solitude or tranquility and isolation from the external world. Because they were somehow overloaded by a lot of information, so they need some kind of private space and isolation in order to digest the information and also to recover from this attention fatigue.
Thanks, I found it very exciting too. I also want to know which one was your main motivation in doing this paper.
So I'm very much interested in the individual creativity of creative workers, and for this specific paper, I was mainly motivated by a talk given by Professor Richard Schimmer in a conference in 2016, where he talked about the role of disconnection and isolation for individual creativity. But at that time, there was no empirical work really dealing with this issue, and that really motivates me to work out this further in the video games industry in Shanghai.
That sounds really interesting. And could you tell me which ones will you consider are the key policy implications based on your findings?
I think urban planners can learn something from this research, particularly in designing creative space in cities. I think in order to design this kind of creative spaces, urban planners really need to pay a lot of attention to creative workers' need for isolation and temporary disconnection and absence from the external world. So maybe in the future, urban planners can try to design some space where creative workers can go and also, have some temporary space of their own, and then they can really think creatively and widely and then perform the kind of creative work they are required to do.
Thank you for that and for taking the time to have a coffee break with me. It was a pleasure for me to have you here, and I hope to see you next time.
Thank you as well. Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more details about this academic publication, you can find here the link below. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, or listen to our podcast on Spotify. See you next time. Bye-bye.